Hello, welcome back to the Perspective Podcast. This is anchor staff Xavier Peng.
This is Fiona Smith.
Hi, Fiona. Fiona is a very great addition to our anchor this year, and I'm very happy to welcome her to our podcast. We talk about movies, music, art, and pop culture in the Perspective Podcast, and welcome back to the new school year, guys. For the first issue for our podcast this year, I want to do something different and just maybe something chill, and especially with our new guest coming in who's going to do the podcast with me for the following months. We will start with something fresh and chill, and hopefully you guys will like it. So the theme of today's podcast will be the recommendation of alternative musicians, because I know personally that, well, I've always been a really big fan of alternative music, and I've been really starting to listen to it when it was probably during the pandemic. And I've explored a lot of artists, because a lot of artists started to put out more indie and more reflective stuff at that point, including like Phoebe Bridgers' Punisher album and Taylor Swift's most, personal album. So that is the time that I started to listen to alternative music. And when I got to Perskyle, I found out that people around here doesn't alternative is not a very popular genre. I don't see many people who have been listening to more alternative artists. And for those of you who doesn't really know a lot about this genre is more, I would say, instrumental and lyrics oriented. So most of the time, alternative artists will have very reflective, very deep, emotional lyrics. Sometimes it has to do with bigger topics like gender, race, or society. There are a lot of subgenres of this genre. For example, alternative rock, alternative pop, and some of the artists that you guys might know will probably like Phoebe Bridgers that I talked about. And I would say that the popular artist right now that is kind of leaning towards the alternative direction is Olivia Rodrigo. So she has a new album actually coming out today, the day that we're recording, which is
September 8th.
Okay, September 8th. I think her album comes out today, and I've seen a lot of critics saying that it is a more alternative pop album. So this is a genre that has, been around for a while, and I just think that it will be great for us to recommend some great alternative music and to have people who doesn't really know about this genre to start listening to it, because for me it is genuinely a pretty important genre in music, and I think it is special. It's just different than all of the other music. What do you have to say about alternative music?
I honestly think it's really good, because most genres don't really speak about all the problems that most people have. They just have the courage to say what everyone else is thinking, or talking about what you're going through, but you can't really open up to anyone because, just don't feel comfortable.
Great. Me and Fiona is going to talk about some of our favorite alternative artists. So we've talked about this actually before, of how actually Fiona showed me her playlist, and I've seen a lot of familiar faces in it, and one of them being a band that has I think one or two songs popped up on TikTok, and they're doing very great alternative genre in terms of iconic instrumental use and their lyrics, and obviously they're pretty crazy band name. So they are Cigarettes After S. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word in the podcast, but I think people who knows will know what that is the SEX word. So Cigarettes After That. So that's a band that, as I said, had a few songs popped up on TikTok, including I think Apocalypse is one of their popular ones, and K. These songs are great. What I like about them is that their song is very moody. Seriously, I personally like to listen to their song deep at night after shower. I have a incense fountain in my house, and I usually after shower I'll lit one, and then I'll listen to their music and just vibing. It's a vibe. Their instrumental is very unique. I really love the use of their guitar and synth. That is something that's pretty unique in all alternative artists, because it's just how they could use such a simple instrument and create such a special mood for everyone. So what do you have to say about them?
Honestly, I love them. They're really nice to listen to at like 3 in the morning when your insomnia kicks in.
Yeah. What's your favorite songs from them?
It's very hard to choose actually. Like,
yeah, I know. Yeah, they have lots of good songs.
So like I listen to all of them on repeat, not gonna lie. So like I'll be in bed at 3 in the morning staring at my ceiling, just like vibing to them. Sometimes my parents actually come knock on the door and be like, Fiona, turn down your music.
Even with that like gentle music from them?
It's because I'm blasting it on a speaker or whatever.
That's true. Yeah.
And they're like, you need to stop. It's 3 in the morning, people are trying to sleep. You also should go to bed.
Oh, my favorite song will probably be like lately K has been growing on me a lot. Like it's a very structured song, and I think it's different from some of their other songs, because one thing that people criticize about Serious After S is that they have songs that are pretty similar. I would say so, but like sometimes they do wield it in a different way. And yeah, K has been growing on me. It's a 5-minute song, so most of the songs are pretty long. So that's why they have the vibe, because it's just long and you just get into it like slowly, you know. So next, we're gonna talk about
We should talk about the Arctic Monkeys, because they're also really good. I know they have some popular songs on TikTok, and that's why most people get into listening to them or call themselves fans because of TikTok showed them a song and they're like, oh my god, I'm so obsessed.
Literally, yeah.
Like, oh my god, I just bought their shirt because, well...
I listened to one of their songs. Yeah.
Well, I listen to all their songs and I don't have a shirt.
I know, yeah, that usually happens too. Yeah, it's actually an interesting phenomenon in the alternative music fan group, is that people would actually listen to them to be different, to be trendy, you know?
Right.
But I don't think that's the essence of alternative music. Obviously, it's good that you're supporting the genre, but also you need to know, like, it is not just about listening, it's about like how they express themselves in their music and why do they choose the genre of alternative to express themselves. So yeah.
I think it's like a way to like tell the world how they feel. Like, you know how people have writing to like express themselves, like they write in a journal. Well, I think it's the same thing for music. Like they're just trying to express themselves in any way that they can.
Yeah, the 1975 is like literally one of my favorite like band, and they are like, they're a big fan of Arctic Monkey. I haven't got into them myself personally, but I know that they are a pretty well-known like rock band, and obviously that will, you know, go to the genre of alternative rock, which is a popular genre that a lot of people have been doing in recent years. I think alternative music has been having its comeback in the early 2020s.
Definitely.
Yeah, because like right now, if you scroll on, you know, TikTok, like those YouTube shorts and all of that, people are not just using the popular artists like Doja Cat and like Taylor Swift song anymore. They are kind of, you know, popularizing music from more indie artists. So I think that's a really good thing. And yeah, like what do you like about Arctic Monkeys music?
I also just like how it doesn't really resonate to me exactly, but the feeling that I get when listening to them is just so... words can't even describe how I feel while listening to them. Like, it's just so unique.
Is there anything that stands out to you about their music? Like their lyrics or their music, or like how, like their tone, like what do they discuss in the albums and all that?
I honestly think it's their tone that makes it so appealing. And the music, like their solos that they do.
Yeah, I love solos. I love solos in between a song, yeah. Well, yeah, I mentioned in 1975, like, one of my favorite songs of them is called If You're Too Shy, Let Me Know. And it has an entire section of just saxophone solo. And that's the best part of the entire song. We also have Girl in Red. Okay. I think Girl in Red is one of the popular ones in the alternative artists. I think We Fell in Love in October was a hit song even back in 2020. Like her name was out there, and it was praised to be a sapphic love song, and we love that. And I think Girl in Red's expression of her own like identity and her backgrounds and how she scoped the teenage nuances in between like relationships and like all of those feelings and emotions, that's what I truly love about her music. As an existentialism enthusiast, I love her lyrics. You know, I'll die anyway, so who cares? You know, like I love the attitude that she expresses in her lyrics. And I know that you've been listening to her first full-length album, which is Horny Lovesick Mess, something like that. It's a pretty long title. So how do you feel about the album and her as a person?
Honestly, I love the album so much. Like, it's really good. Like, I can't even pick a favorite song in the album because it's just everything's so good. The song that I relate to the most by her is probably like Fall in Love in October.
Yeah.
Because when I started listening to that, I actually like fell in love with someone in October, and then we broke up.
Really?
And then we broke up in October, and I was like,
oh, okay. That's a fun experience. Oh. Yeah, I love the song. I love that song. And yeah, I think she has like a new version of it. It's called like October Passed Me By. I think she released it last year. It's continuation of We Fell in Love in October. And actually a lot of people think that it's better than the original. I personally disagree, but it's still a good song. Like, I love the fact that she discusses her relationship that she wrote in the original song in the new song, like how that passed and how she feels right now after years. So that's really interesting. And
I should totally listen to that one because I haven't listened to it yet. But
I know that Fiona has been listening to a lot of alternative bands as well that honestly, me personally don't even know. So one of them being, I think the artist called 10 Years, and I saw a lot of their songs in her playlist. So I just want Fiona to like introduce them to us and to me too. So yeah, I'm wondering like how do you get to know this artist, and why did you start listening to their music, and why do you love their music so much that you have like 90% of the playlist being them? So yeah.
Okay, so funny story actually. Like, I was on one of my playlists or whatever, washing dishes, and then they started playing, and I was like, new band.
Yeah.
I was like, I really like this, so I started listening to more of their albums and whatever. So I went to my stepdad and I was like, hey, I just found a new band or whatever. And I told him the name, and he's like, I used to have one of their albums. I was like, oh, that's cool. But honestly, I've never heard like anywhere else besides on my playlist. Like, TikTok doesn't have it, I don't think. And I've literally heard no one else speak about them. I'm like, what? Like, should be talked about more.
Good, yeah.
Like,
are they more of like instrumental oriented band, or are they more focused on lyrics?
Honestly, I think more lyrics, but you can definitely like sense the emotion in like their instruments.
Love that. Okay. Yeah. Also, yeah, I think I have personally heard the name before. I've just never got into the artists themselves. And yeah, well, they're definitely not like one of those bands that just came out like recent years, if you said that your stepfather has an album of it. So yeah, like when was it like they started, releasing songs?
I think it was like 1999.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so they're kind of old.
Oh yeah, I listen to a lot of old stuff too. Like, this is probably gonna get too alternative, but I listen to Joy Division. I listen to Oasis is not. Like, well, people know Oasis and Blur, and like those old alternative bands, they're great too. So yeah, 1999 is not old for me. I listen to like 80s rock, so yeah.
I mean, like, I wouldn't say old, but I definitely say like considered to the stuff now, it's just kind of like faded, I guess. But honestly, I think people should like actually talk about them more because they're just so good.
Yeah, that's great. I'll definitely like look into them more. That practically concludes our podcast today. I hope you guys have learned more about alternative artists. I definitely because we chose the artists that we've have both listened to so that we have more to talk about, but there are definitely more amazing alternative artists out there. I cannot recommend Phoebe Bridgers enough to everyone. She is amazing. In other alternative artists I can think of right now would probably be Wolf Alice. I know them. And Haim. I just went to Haim. Haim is Taylor Swift's really good friend. And also Girl in Red actually opened Taylor Swift's the Eras Tour in many locations as well. So that's fun. I didn't mention that. I hope you guys learn more about alternative artists, and thank you for joining us today, Fiona. It is her first time doing the Perspective podcast, so it could be a little bit nerve-wracking, but you did great, and we hope to see you guys really soon, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.